What's going on, guys? How's your evening going? Sipping on some tea right now. This is a this is a midnight blend from Trader Joe's. I think it's the Sleepy Time tea from Trader Joe's. Good shit. It's I don't know. It's supposed to put you to sleep. To be completely honest with you, I don't think it really does anything like that. I don't think it puts me to sleep. May make you a little bit tired. I'm definitely not drinking this in the morning. But if I'm having tea at night, I'm having this stuff. There's no caffeine in it. It's not going to get me wired. If anything, hopefully this puts me to sleep. But man, there was a thought going through my head today, and it's just like, why are so many people so obsessed with being angry about something, but when it comes down to their actions on that thing, they don't follow through and they don't align. There's so many people that seem to do this now, and maybe they've always done it, but I've noticed this a lot with a lot of people that really care a lot about politics, is that they put so much time and energy into being mad at something that they can't control or they can do something about, but they don't do it because it requires them to give up something in their life that they indulge in. That in order for them to give up in their life would require them to give up comfort. I was thinking about this. So I remember during COVID, there was a group that I was a part of, that I went to some meetings of. And they were a group that was trying to expose all the COVID stuff, expose all the mandates, expose all the insanity of it, trying to do what they could in the local area to get certain businesses to open up and stay open and teaching people about their rights. It's all good stuff. It was all good stuff. And there was a lot of people that led that group that I think were real ones and were true fighters in that regard. But a lot of people that went to these meetings, man, I'll tell you what, a lot of them that went to these meetings, maybe even myself included, were complainers. Absolute complainers. They'd all show up, they would be mad, they would be outraged. I remember there was an app that the group used. It was on Slack. And they had their group on Slack. And in the group, they had all these different threads about all these different things. And they had the main thread, which is the thread where everybody just posted stuff about what was going on. It was like, that could be like news articles or stuff that was going on in the local area, or, somebody had a comment to say about something, whatever it be, man. And I can tell you what, man, no social media made me more depressed to be on social media than Slack for People's Rights Oregon 5. Tons of people just complaining, doom and gloom all over the place. People being doomers themselves. I mean, it was like, holy shit. This is ridiculous. I can't be on here anymore. This is not healthy for my soul. It's not good for my mental health. I eventually ended up deleting the app. And I eventually ended up stop going to those meetings. One is because they were far away. They were like 45 minutes away. And I was just not so into driving out there all the time, paying all that much in gas money. But the biggest reason why is that I did not feel like the group was productive for most people. Now, for the people that were a part, like the leaders of the group, I think they were. But the people that showed up and were on that app posting all these things and complaining, I'm going to say for the most part, most of those people, not true to their intent. Maybe that's a little intense to say. Maybe I'm not, maybe I'm going over this with too wide of a brush. But honestly, I felt like so many of them were not solid in their approach to the situation. So many of these people, so many of them, dude. So many of these people would come to these rallies, would go to these meetings, and they would talk about how stupid everything was that was going on was. Yet they would still walk into a grocery store or any store wearing a mask. And they would still complain. And I realized that it doesn't really matter what people say. It's what people do. It doesn't matter how smart you are or what you know. It all comes down to what you do, what your actions are, and what you have to show for yourself. And people, doesn't matter who you are not going to take you seriously. If you speak a mad game, but you don't play the game at all. They will see through you. They will see the inconsistency in your actions, and they will not trust you. And this is why I don't think that you can just wake people up and, go learn all this stuff and then go out there and espouse all these views and try to get all these people to think these things that you do and see these things the way that you do. It doesn't matter unless you live a certain way. It doesn't matter unless you're an honorable person who does what he says and follows through on his will. Otherwise, you're a poser. You're a poser. And there was a lot of posers in my life at this time. A lot of them. COVID posers, spiritual type people posers, people that would talk about how spiritual they are and, how they found God and how they're just living such a peaceful life at the moment. But man, honest to God, when you got close to these people and you went into these people's homes and you got a ride in these people's cars, god damn, they were a mess. Room's a fucking mess. Their car's a fucking mess. There's shit flying around the back of their car from 3 years ago. It's like, for fuck's sake, man, empty this shit out. How the fuck are you going to be so focused on all this stuff out here if you can't clean up your own damn room? I've said this before in another video. I'm not a fan of Jordan Peterson, but I'm a fan of his rule number 2, which is clean your goddamn room. Clean your goddamn room. How is it that you're going to take on these big existential problems when your own fucking room is a mess? I'm looking at my room right now, and I think it needs to be organized a little bit more. I'm looking at my desk right now, and there's too much shit all over the place. You have to fix what is within before you can fix what is out there. The world is not going to change unless you change and everybody else, as a collective, to enough of a degree, changes what's within here. And I can tell you for a fact that that is what I saw during that time, during COVID. It doesn't matter what you say, it's what you do. And you could speak a mad game about how stupid it all is and how base it all is and, the truth about everything that's going on. But at the end of the day, you engage in it. And if you engage in it, you are part of the problem. And I'm not saying that I was that hard of a fighter out there. I had a job at the time, and I did wear a little scarf. But when I went to other places, when I went to grocery stores, when I went to restaurants and bars and all sorts of other places, when I went to AutoZone to get the shit that I needed for my car, when I went to the car dealership to get my car fixed, I walked in there without a mask. And you know what, dude? The vast majority of the time, nobody said anything. Even at the peak of it all, nobody said anything. The amount of times people did say something, I can count on one hand. It's probably like 4 or 5 times, and that's it. I got kicked out of a store once, and that was it. That was at the beginning, too. As things carried on, I didn't really have that much of an issue. Now, there were certain places that I knew that I would go, that if I went in there without one on, they would kick me out, But then I also found the places that didn't. And I was also, to my surprise, that if I went somewhere that I hadn't been yet during that time, and I went in there without one on, at a certain point, nobody said anything. Yet, I looked around me, and there's all kinds of people wearing these stupid fucking masks. Even people that were at those meetings, that were on that app complaining all the time. It's stupid. And it's why I stopped going. Man, dude, I remember one time there was this protest we went to on the side of the highway. And it was to protest all the COVID restrictions. And we were just getting people to honk at us as they drove by. And we got a lot of people to honk at us as they were driving by. A lot of truckers honked at us. A lot of people in their cars honked at us. A couple people flipped us off. But I'd say it was a pretty positive response. Probably like 70-30. 70% positive, 30% negative. Some indifferent. Then afterwards, we went to a restaurant. Yeah, you had to wear a mask. Hundreds of those people that were at that protest wore a mask. They wore a mask to go and order food at the counter, to sit down, to take it off. And I'm like, what is going on? You guys don't believe this, or you're too afraid. I don't know what it is. But man, you got to be real. And you got to be genuine. And if you aren't, you're not going to be taken seriously. People are going to think you're a clown. And so, be real. Be genuine. Be true to your intent. With this thing, with anything else in life. Speak the truth and live it to the best that you can. But when you fall through, when you fail, when you don't fall through, when you fail, be honest about it. And be honest about your shortcomings, because there's no shame in that. We all have them. We're all human. We all mess up. All right? No shame in admitting that you're not perfect, and admitting that, you may cave to certain pressures at times from people. We're all human. We all have these things. All right. I think that's all I have to say. Y'all have a great night. Take care. Peace.